You can have the best research topic, the best study design, the cleanest data, but if your sample size is wrong, your entire project could collapse, which is why in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to determine your sample size the right way using the right formula. So first and first, what is sample size? A sample size is the number of people you want to include in your study. So for example, you are conducting a study among nurses in a particular hospital, and that hospital has 1,000 nurses. So of course, you are not going to study 1,000 nurses. That number is too large for you. So you are going to select some nurses in that hospital using a formula. And this brings us to the second agenda of today's video, which is how to choose a sample size formula. So we're going to talk about 3 formulas in this video, and the first one is Cochran formula. So if you are going to use a Cochran formula, it means that your population is either finite or infinite. Now, what do I mean by that? So you can use it when your population is known. For example, if you know that there are 1,000 nurses working in a particular hospital, you know the exact number of nurses, which means that your population is finite. So you can still use Cochran formula, but after using it, you are going to apply the finite population correction. So if your population is infinite, which means your population is too large, you don't know the number of nurses working in that hospital, so you are still going to use Cochran formula, and then you don't have to apply the finite population correction. So the second formula I want to talk about is the Yemen formula, and you use this formula when your population is finite. When you know your population, let's say for example, you know that a particular hospital has, let's say, 1,000 nurses, 2,000 or 5,000 nurses, you can use Yemen formula. And then the third formula I want to talk about is the formula for sample size for mean. Now you use this formula when you are trying to compare means. For example, if your research question sounds like, what is the average knowledge of nurses regarding clinical nursing research? So you are going to use the formula for sample size for mean, because you are looking for average, we are talking about mean. But then if your research questions sound like, what is the knowledge of nurses regarding clinical nursing research? This has nothing to do with this formula. This is talking about proportion. So the first question has average, it's talking about average knowledge. And then this second question is just talking about the proportion of nurses that has knowledge. We don't want to know the average. We just want to know the proportion. Is it 60%? Is it 30%? So that's when you use these formulas. Now, the next thing I want to do in this video is to define the variables in all this formula. And I'll be starting with the Cochran formula. Now, the small letter n in Cochran formula stands for the sample size, which is the number of people you want to include in your study, which we don't have yet. That's what we are trying to find out. And then the second one is the Z, the Z-score. And the Z-score has to do with how confident you want to be about your study findings. So, for example, you conducted a study among nurses, and then you found that 60% of nurses have good knowledge of clinical nursing research. Now, the question is, how confident are you in that result? So, are you 100% confident? Something like that. Are you 90% confident or 99% confident? So, that's the question. And the Z-score has a table. So, if you want to be 95% in your result, it has a corresponding value. So, you're going to use that value for your calculation. And also, if you want to be 99%, you're going to use that value for your population. If you want to be 90% confident, you are going to use its corresponding value for your calculation as well. And then the next one is the P, and the P stands for the assumed proportion. Now, this P is talking about the number of people you think know or have what you are studying. So let's say you are studying nurses' knowledge regarding clinical nursing research. You want to ask yourself, what percentage or what proportion of nurses do I think have good knowledge of clinical nursing research? So in this case, you don't know because you are still trying to conduct a study. So what you're going to do is to go back to previous literature that have studied something similar and see what they found. So for example, if a study found that 60% of nurses have good knowledge of clinical nursing research, you are going to divide that number by 100 and get your proportion, which is 0.6, and then you are going to use that proportion for your calculation. Yes, so let's assume you found no previous study related to your topic. So what you're going to do is you're going to use 50% as your assumed proportion. Why? Because it gives you the safest sample size. Like, the estimation is not too low and then it's also not too high. So you're going to divide 50 by 100 and you get 0.5. And then the next thing I want to talk about is 1 minus P. So the 1 minus P is the opposite of your P. Now, this is where you want to talk about the percentage or the proportion of people you think do not have or do not know what you are studying. So in this case, we are going to say what percentage of nurses do not have good knowledge of clinical nursing research. So you are just going to do your 1 minus P. So you're just going to say, let's say 1 minus 0.6, we're going to have 0.4. So that's our 1 minus P. So the next thing we want to talk about is the E. Your E stands for margin of error. It's just like saying, okay, how much error am I willing, or mistake am I willing to tolerate in this research? So if you're willing to tolerate 5% error, so you're just going to divide 5 by 100 and you get 0.05, which you are going to use. And then if you feel like, okay, you want to give room for more mistakes, let's say 10%, you're going to divide 10 by 100 and you get 0.1. So That's just your sample size variable. So now that we've defined all our variables, we're going to plug in the values into our formula, and then we have our sample size to be 385, 384, or 385. Okay, if you approximate it, you're going to have 385. Yes. So now remember, I told you that you can use Cochran formula with finite or infinite population. Now, if your population is infinite, we are going to stop here. But if your population is finite, like you know the exact number of nurses, the total number of nurses in that hospital, you're going to adjust your sample size using the finite population correction formula. And this formula, your N, your small letter N, stands for your adjusted sample size, which is what we are trying to look for. We don't know it yet. And then your N naught stands for your original sample size, the one you calculated, which is 385. And then this capital letter N stands for the total number of your population, the total number of nurses in that hospital. So you plug in your values into the formula, and then you have your final sample size to be 235. So instead of 385, we now have a sample size of 235. So that's how to use your Cochrane formula. So now let's look at the Yemen formula. Now in Yemen formula, your small letter N stands for your sample size again, and also your capital letter N stands for your total population. So if a hospital has a total number of 600 nurses, that's going to be your N, and also your E still stands for margin of error. So we are still going to go with 0.05, which means we just want a minimal amount of error, like 5% of error is okay. So you just plug in your value into the formula, and then you have your final sample size. It's as simple as that. So the next one is the formula for sample size for mean. So again, your N stands for your sample size, which is what we are trying to look for, and then your Z still stands for your Z score. So we are going to go with 95% confidence interval, and then also again your theta stands for your standard deviation. Now this standard deviation, we're going to look at past literatures. That's where you're going to get your standard deviation, just like we did with the assumed proportion in our Cochrane formula. So let's see, the study has to do with hours of sleep that nurses get on night shift. So if you look at previous studies, and maybe let's say you found the standard deviation to be 2.5, so you're going to use that 2.5 hours in your calculation as well. And then the next one is your margin of error. So it still stands for the same meaning. But in a study like this, in a study that has nothing to do with proportion, a study that's dealing with average or means, you don't express it in percentage, you just attach the units to it. So for example, if your study has to do with the average hours of sleep that nurses get on night shift, so you can decide that you want your margin of error to be plus or minus 0.5 hours. Or if you're studying, maybe let's say the weight of children under 5, the average weight of children under 5, and then you can decide that you want your margin of error to be plus or minus 2 kg. So why we are using plus or minus is because we want to be able to know the range in which our true value, the true value of our population is estimated to be. So let's say we found that at the end of our study, we found that nurses have the average sleep of 4 hours during night shift. So we can add 0.5 to 4 and also subtract 0.5 to 4. So we can have 3.5 to 4.5 average sleep hours. We can see that this is the average hours of sleep that nurses get. So now coming back to our formula, we are just going to plug in our values, and then you have your sample size. And that's all for this video. I hope you find this video helpful. So please like, subscribe, and share, and see you in my next video. Bye.